Hey guys, welcome back to the Dialed In Podcast. This is the Low Equity Edition. We are joined today by Ryan and Shanna. As always, we're sponsored by rockabouleads.ai. They provide us with brand new on-market low equity leads, and you can use our affiliate code down below to get 20% off your first month if you want to. Ryan and Shanna, both you guys are new to our session here, so thank you guys so much for attending. I really do appreciate it. Let's start with you, Shanna.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you located, and what are you looking to do?
Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it. So I am in Louisiana at the moment. And what am I looking to do?
When did you join SubTo? I'll lead you a little bit. When did you join SubTo?
So I joined SubTo in April of 2023. And got my first, back then I was living in Baltimore, Maryland, where I pretty much lived my whole life, and got involved in the DMV group area and met up with Stacy and Jael, who are a mother-daughter team, and they kind of took me under their wing. I did my first deal with them, and moved to Louisiana right before Squat Up last year. Got here right before Squat Up, went to Squat Up, and have been here ever since.
You know, it's interesting when people say right now I'm in Louisiana, I always get the impression that you either have another destination in mind or you're used to kind of moving around a lot. What is your situation? Do you like to move around?
This is the first time I moved out of the area that I lived in my whole life. So when I say I'm right now in Louisiana, I've had a little bit of a what do you call it?
A culture shock.
Yes. Like, you know, when you transplant yourself to a completely different area of where you lived over half a century, you don't realize what a huge change it is. So, you know, not knowing anybody or anything, it's like I'm still don't really fully have my bearings. But, you know, when you raise a family, you kind of don't want to move around a lot. I probably would have moved around a lot sooner if I didn't have a family. And then, you know, as my kids got older and then they wanted to start venturing out, finally I decided to kind of do the same. And, you know, I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and there's a lot of things I love about it. One of the biggest reasons why I came south is because I'm very hot-blooded, and I like it warm, and I hate the cold. So it wasn't like it wasn't something that I decided to do all of a sudden. Like in 2022, before I even found SubTo, I was looking hard at Florida. And then in 2023, I was looking at North Carolina, and then this opportunity came up, and I just kind of jumped on it. I was tired of missing out, moving south.
Well, I love the excitement. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You presented the third option, which is I'm here right now because I'm unsure about whether I want to stay or not. That was the third option.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been there before too. I totally get it. So. Ryan, as someone who has moved across the country, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're currently located, and how people can work with you if they want.
Absolutely. I'm originally, like I said, from Los Angeles, and I am now living in Georgia, a little town called Loganville, about an hour from Atlanta. And there used to be this commercial when I first moved here, 2007. It was a Maxi Price commercial called "Where's Loganville?" This gentleman had a southern accent, and it was hilarious. And I usually reference that to people so they know where I'm from. But now, you know, I'm a gymnastics coach now, and went to school at UIC in Chicago. So as a gymnast, my whole life I used to travel a lot and was familiar with different cities that I would go to, and so I feel like I'm well traveled as a person, but never owned anything. And so, you know, now I am in real estate now. I'm coaching gymnastics at the same time, and realize that there's no money in it. So realized that I need to make a new change, and so got into real estate about 3 years ago. got my license at the same time I joined SubTo, and I twiddled my thumbs for about a year. Didn't know really what I was doing. I knew that knew how to call agents and knew how to talk to them for a little while and kind of make offers, but didn't know how to connect. And so then I got a whole macro-minded approach in how I can maybe add value to them long-term and do deals long-term. And so now that's kind of what I focus on and what I'm looking to do. And so I'm well connected, I guess, at this point. I've got about 100 agents on my phone from last year that I've connected with, and some have licensing in different states. Some are just licensed here in Georgia, so I value them 100%. I call daily, and I feel like I'm more confident at this point on talking to different people, but I haven't called different markets, and so I've decided to take this leap of faith and start making calls to different markets. I feel like that'd be pretty cool. I saw that there's a list of people you presented to us, and then I'm going to start making calls to ones in Georgia, but obviously maybe ones in California and Texas, where you're from, or where you're located now, and maybe in some in Louisiana.
Love it. Well, first of all, you downplayed what it is that you're doing in real estate.
I apologize.
I think what you're doing, I want to, no, don't apologize. I think that I want to point this out because I think what you're doing is pretty amazing. So what you're doing, and a lot of people who are watching this probably haven't seen this yet, but you should. Ryan is doing almost daily recordings of his phone calls. And so honestly, I feel lucky that you're here with us so that you can I love learning from other people who are making calls the way that you are publicly, because I do think that it applies a different level of pressure to it than just making them on your own. So congratulations, good on you. If people want to work with you, Ryan, how can people get a hold of you?
You guys can find me at Coach Ryan Workouts on Instagram. Also, my number, I guess I can put it in here, 770-624-4043. That's my personal number. I don't mind sharing that. I get spam calls all day long anyway, so
Right.
like everyone else. So I don't mind answering a call to a friend, and especially for a SubTo member. I'd love to connect with you, see how we can do deals long term, just like I call agents. So my phone's always open. My email is also ryanonrings@yahoo.com. It's going to be my personal email. I've got a KW email as an agent, but I don't really give it out just because it's not really that personal. So that's how you guys can connect with me, and I would love to work with anyone.
Cool, guys. Well, thank you guys both so much for joining us today. I've given you guys a list of data. Ryan, you're going to start the first phone call. I want to see how an expert does this. And so does Shanna. No pressure, by the way.
Yeah.
You're going to start, I guess, with Georgia, I assume, right? You're going to sort by Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Let me scroll down here.
So, Shanna, when you're ready to start calling, what we'll do is just don't start with Georgia, just so we're not overlapping. You can start wherever else you want. I think there are plenty of leads there to call.
Here we go. I have the number. I just don't know who this is. Her name is Carrie. We'll see what happens.
You'll still have your birthday, obviously, right?
Exactly.
Thank you for calling Mark Spain Real Estate. To get a guaranteed offer, press 1. To sell
Ryan.
your home,
Ryan,
Yes.
hang this one up. Sometimes I don't know about you, but sometimes their office can be really troublesome to
Yeah.
work with. So maybe just skip that one.
Yeah, I'm going to move to the next one. Yep.
Are they a flat fee listing service?
I think they can be. Most agents are pretty open to talking, and so I feel like the ones that don't, they just don't answer their phone because it's like a 1%, commission. They don't care. I've spoken to the owner on accident because I thought I was calling the agent, and they just put their number on there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm like, that's
Yes.
pretty cool.
They pay $99 to list it on the MLS.
Right. This is Brian, I believe. Here we go.
state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Ryan Smith.
Please leave your name, telephone number, and a short message, and I'll return your phone call. Thanks.
This is the last one here that's in Georgia. And then I guess I'll just move on to anyone.
I don't know if you guys have done this too, but I've started to use a dialer when dialing these, not like a 10-line dialer, but like a 2 or 3-line dialer.
Right.
Because I hate waiting on the rings.
Yeah.
And it's changed everything.
That needed
I'm
work.
on the phone 3 times as much.
Okay. I need that in my life.
Yeah. It's obviously tough to do here. It wouldn't work, but for future reference.
Right. You know what? I'm just going to call this one that's in California here. I see one. I'll just start with that one. 6603.
Hi, you've reached Sonia Curtis with S. Curtis.
No one's picking up today.
It happens. The joy of being a real estate investor.
Right?
Talking to agents, right?
I'm going to go for one that I really like then. I just see a lower interest rate here. And
Do you have the same list as me, Ryan?
I believe so. It's about 58 people on here. And the last 3 are from Georgia, right?
Because I see a Sonia Curtis on mine, too.
Yep.
Yep. It's the same list. Typically what we do is we start at the top and bottom and just kind of
Okay.
move this way.
Okay.
But since Ryan's calling Georgia, we'll find another way to make it work today.
Yeah, I mean, I can go. I start at number 2 right there. I'll go to number 4, number 3. I'll go to number 4 now. That's Florida. I know that. I know Florida.
We got to find Shanna a home out there.
Yes, let's do it.
In Florida?
It's warm.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
you know what the crazy thing is? But I had things in place to move to Florida. I had started the process, and I ended up backing out and just putting things on the back burner for the time being. Had I gone through with those plans, I would have arrived in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, 3 days before that major hurricane hit.
Wow.
Sometimes things work out the way that they should, right? Or for the best. Well, you'll experience a hurricane here pretty soon if you stay in Louisiana, so just stay long enough.
Hello?
Hey, is this Caesar?
Yes,
Hey, Caesar. My name is Ryan. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Great. I'm giving you a call here about your listing. My wife's sitting over me this morning here. She's giving me a Zillow listing and a Redfin listing here. Give me 1 second. I think it's 293 Pinewoods Street.
Yeah, it's been pulled off the market. The
Oh.
owner's still living in it.
Okay. Is what's going on there? Is you guys planning on putting it back on market or?
She has to resolve some issues with the boyfriend. It's a mess in there. It's a legal
man.
issue with Brent. Yeah, he's on title. He wants money that he's not entitled to, and yeah.
Okay, got it, man. Well, no worries. I'm originally from Los Angeles, and we moved down here in Tampa just a few weeks ago. And I was just curious if you had any other listings that we can look at too.
Not currently, I don't. But if you want me to send you a few, just let me know your price point. Just text it to me and text me your email and text me the area that you're wanting to look at and what
Okay.
you're looking for exactly, and I can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Is this your personal number?
Correct.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we buy a lot of properties right now, mainly on contract for deeds right now, just because interest rates are just super high. But we're looking to obviously create affordable housing for people, and then turn around and use those homes to actually give them to people that haven't qualified for homes right now in this market. So if you know anything that's within that price range of square footage of around 1,800 square feet or more, where we can maybe add an additional bedroom or bathroom for somebody, that'd be great, man.
Yeah, just shoot me your email and just what are you looking for exactly, and I'll just go in there and I'll start looking on the MLS.
Love it, man.
When I get back.
Love it. Love it. You sound like a go-getter agent. I love it. All right, brother. Well, I won't keep you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm going to text you over my information now, and we'll be in contact.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
So, Shanna, talk to me about Ryan's phone call. What did you think about the way he handled the phone call in general?
I think he handled it well. But he went right to, do you have any other properties after he found out this one was taken off the market. He sounded very confident and great job. I mean, he secured future business.
So, Ryan, a couple of things that I notice here, just because I've been doing this a long time. What you just did there was expert level, and there's nuance there that a lot of people aren't going to recognize. For example, I love the smile when he picks up the phone on your end. And that's interesting, right? Because I can see you here.
Right.
It's easy to make a cold call and you be in your office and not smile. But that makes all the difference in the world. When you smile, your tonality changes.
Right.
And I feel, I don't know if this is me being corny or kind of hippie or anything like that, but I feel like they feel it on the other end too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that you smile when you say, hey, what's going on? I also love your introduction. Super, super simple. A lot of people can't get away with that. And what I mean by that is a lot of people can't say, how you doing? How's your day going? Right? Because a lot of people say, well, screw off. I don't even know who you are. Who is this again?
Right.
But you get away with that because of your smile, the way that your tonality changes as a result of that smile at the very beginning of the call. Incredible job. Small nuance, but it makes all the difference in the world to me. This is me nitpicking, like
Absolutely.
totally nitpicking. The only thing that you possibly could have done is when he said, yeah, it's a really sticky situation, boyfriend this, house that, like title, all those sorts of things. The only thing that you could have said is something like, we deal with these sorts of problems all the time. In fact, we just dealt with a problem like that here,
Right.
and going kind of a third-party
Yeah.
story. That's the only thing. But otherwise, that's a relationship that you're going to be able to nurture for a long time.
Right.
Really, really good job.
Thank you.
And that was even a low equity call, right? That was a relationship call. But what you did is you created a relationship with that guy for future business. Or at least started a relationship.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really good. See, Shanna, I think a lot of people will look at that call and go, nothing was accomplished. Ryan, what do you think was accomplished there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I wanted to talk about the house and wanted to see if there was anything there, but I love to pivot and see if he's got other listings. Usually I know it's not just about that one house I'm calling. He might have a pocket listing that he knows, or he might have something in the pipeline, that I can capitalize on and maybe get first dibs. So, for me, I like to just, ask that question and then, pivot to the relationship after that point, and see, to your point, how we can do business long term and secure that business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great call. I don't want to spend too much time on that just because it wasn't really a low equity call,
Right.
but great job. Let's get on the phone with someone else, Ryan, and then Shanna, we're going to have both you guys call at the same time, okay?
Let's do it. I'll call Cece, the next one.
While you're calling, I'm going to ask you a question if you don't mind. When you are talking about contract for deeds, did you bring that up just because it was in the state of Florida?
I didn't. I actually just used that because terminology-wise, I've learned seller finance is super popular, And so it's like people get hammered with those calls, and so I try to differentiate myself a little bit and use different wording.
Great point.
Contracts or deeds.
Yep. It's basically a seller finance without the deed changing hands at the start. It's kind of like think of like when you finance a car.
Okay. So like an executory contract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, is this Cece?
It is.
Hi, Cece. How are you? Happy Friday to you.
Good. How can I help you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm giving you a call about your listing. My wife actually sent over me this morning here. Give me 1 second here. She sent me a Zillow listing and a Redfin listing. Oh my gosh. It's 5150, excuse me, Fiorella Lane in Sanford.
That's not my listing anymore. She's
Oh.
a different agent, I think, because she went with a different agent, so I'm not sure who it is now. But
Well, she made the wrong choice.
she did, but it's okay.
I love it. Well, you know what? You keep your head up. I'm also an agent too in Georgia here. We were looking at this one as a potential rental for us. And,
And that's the thing about this particular property, which makes it challenging, is that you have to live in it for 2 years before you can rent it.
oh, is that right? Is that how the HOA is going?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I hear that, I was just looking to see if you might have another listing that we can look at too. I know you're a busy agent. No?
No, not currently.
Not
I
currently?
don't
Okay.
think.
Well, that's fine. Well, keep my number. Please save me as a buyer. I'd love to, work with you long term if we can. We just moved down to Florida, so we're looking for anything that might, be helpful for some affordable housing. Excuse me. We're doing a lot of, things to help people in this market right now. People aren't getting approved for loans, unfortunately, and so if we can do some affordable housing, and create some more rentals out in the market right now. We're doing it on seller financing. So yeah, I'd love to send you my information. Is this your personal number or is this a work number?
Yeah, no, this is my personal. If you just send me a text message, I'll definitely keep you.
Okay.
Stay in contact with you.
Awesome, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for the call. Have a great rest of your weekend.
No problem. You have a great day.
All right, take care.
Okay.
Bye.
So, Ryan, as an agent here, I'm kind of curious what your perspective is on this. I was thinking that, and I get confused by this all the time, when an agent picks up their phone, and that agent answered a little bit differently, they were a little bit more concerned about the phone call. That's not the right way to say it, but it was like, who is this, right?
Right.
That was her response.
Right.
You're an agent, so that's why I'm asking your perspective here. If I were an agent and someone calls me out of the blue looking for information on a listing that I have, what do you think I'm thinking as an experienced real estate agent? What can I do with this person? Is this a waste of my time or is it not a waste of my time?
I'm sorry. Can you rephrase that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I didn't ask that the way that I wanted to. So what I'm saying is that let's say that I call you because I'm looking at your brand new listing. I'm looking to potentially buy something, and sure, that situation was a little bit different. She's no longer the listing agent.
Right.
But if someone calls me out of the blue looking to buy a house, as someone who is in a business that requires networking and building up a network of potential clients, what I'm thinking naturally is, how do I nurture this relationship with this person who just called? Because let's say, for example, that house that you called on was a $350,000 listing.
Right.
If she's going to get 3% hypothetically in that house, or maybe even another house that you buy down the road with her, that's a $10,000 check.
Right.
Right? That's a $10,000 phone call. How much money do you think you could make if I'm getting a phone call every 15 minutes that could result in a $10,000 check for me at some point in the future?
Right. I mean,
so
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm going to say, I would value that over anything. I'm going to try and figure out who this person is, try to, get as much information as possible, treat them like gold. You know what I mean? A lot of times when I call other agents, obviously, sometimes they'll just say, hey, this is Ryan from KW, to kind of break that barrier a little bit. And I don't do it often, but it's just a matter of, like, if I can tell the mood is like, who is this, and they're giving me some pushback a little bit, I'll just break the air a little bit and just as an icebreaker, and hey, that will kind of lower their guard. Oh, hey, how's it going? And then I can tell the mood changed a little bit. So, but to your point, yeah, I mean, I totally would, value that relationship and see what they've got going on. What's their buy box? Where are they looking for? Are they buying right now as well? And then how can we, work together? I realize it's about the network.
It always confuses me when you call an agent. They're like, "Who is this? The property's not available. I don't want to work with you anymore." It's like, wait, hold on a second. You could have spent $100 on finding a lead on Zillow, for example, for a client. You had someone call you completely out of the blue, a free lead.
Right.
Take advantage of that. Be nice to people. Treat people well.
Correct.
I've never understood the agent who picks up the phone. What do you want? Never understood it.
Yeah. I don't get it either. But a lot of times, I mean, there's an agent right now I'm calling almost every week to follow up, and she just says, "Please text me. Please text me." Uh-huh. And I'm like, I want to talk to you. I want to connect with you. So I can't text you. I said, I'm a bad texter. When can we talk? She says, "I'm in meetings all week. What do you want to know?" I said, "Well, I want to know when you can talk."
Yeah. Have you guys ever sent a text that meant something different, but it was interpreted differently by the person who received it?
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, there's no
Right?
nuance in texting, no voice inflections or anything like that.
That's why I've started to go more towards voice memos
Yep.
than anything else.
Yep.
Especially if it's something sensitive. I want people to hear exactly how I'm sounding.
Right.
And how I'm changing my voice as a result of what I'm trying to communicate.
Great idea. I always forget about the voice memos.
Yep.
Or what's really cool too is video. Just take a video of yourself. Instead of a voice, just take a video of yourself and send that over.
That's brilliant.
That's also nice.
I'm going to remember that too.
Yep. And that's also a great way to, if you're using your cell phone to connect with agents, send them a video. Mm-hmm. "Hey, Shanna, it's me, Ryan. We just touched base on your listing. Just wanted to introduce myself. Here's my contact information I've included in the text down below. I'm looking forward to working with you."
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because a lot of times when they say just text me or when they're like, who is this? It may be because they're getting inundated with spam calls and stuff like that. So, sending a video or a voice memo kind of gets all that out of the way. And they're like, oh, okay, this is a serious call.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, exactly. Well, good job on the first two calls. Let's get someone on the phone that we can actually pitch a SubTo deal to today.
Man.
So, Shanna, why don't you get on the phone, you too, Ryan, and let's see what we can come up with.
Okay, so you want us both calling at the same time? How's that going to work?
So what you do is you mute yourself here. Both of you guys mute yourself when you get on the phone. Just unmute so we can listen.
Okay, but obviously don't unmute if he's unmuted.
Someone's on a phone call. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
How do we make sure we're not calling the same person?
It's okay. Usually we start at the top and the bottom, work our way to the middle. This one's going to be a little bit different. Who cares? We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Just know not to call Cece.
I'm calling Alexis, so you better start from Lauren. That's funny.
What we could do is just organize it alphabetically by state.
I'm gonna call Texas,
Okay.
or maybe even Utah. Texas and Utah, North Carolina.
Arkansas. Just kidding. I thought we were just throwing out names of states.
Hi, you've reached Alexis Bentley with Felicia Dream Home.
Hey, Ryan, I'm going to mute you while you're calling. And when you get on the phone, just unmute yourself, okay?
Hi, Alexis. This is Ryan. I was just giving you a call about your listing in Florida. I believe it is...
slow today, huh, guys? Agents are getting ready for their open houses this weekend.
My name is Ryan. How are you?
Good.
Good, good. I'm giving you a call about your listing. My wife actually sent it over to me this morning here. It is 4214 West Dead Horse Court. Excuse me.
Yes,
Yes, is it still available?
it is.
Awesome, awesome, man. Yeah, we're originally from Los Angeles, and we happened to see that this listing had been on the market for just a little while. I thought she sent me a Zillow listing and a Redfin listing, so I was just making sure it was still available. So yeah, I mean,
We just listed this week.
yes, okay, gotcha. That makes more sense. I thought it might be off market or not. So cool beans, man. Yeah, I just want to pick your brain a little bit here. You took great photos here. Is this Airbnb?
No, it's just a regular home.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. Well, we are, like I said, we own a couple rentals in Los Angeles. We just moved to Utah, so we're not really familiar with the whole area here. So we were looking, at this one to maybe buy as a potential rental, or maybe just, move into. We'll be back down there in a few weeks. And so, yeah, I mean, how has this listing been for you so far? I know you haven't been listed that long.
Well, we haven't had any movement right now. But so, are you looking at for you or for like investment or?
Well, I mean, we're trying to figure that out. We don't know the area that well, like I said, and so we own multiple rentals in Los Angeles, some in Georgia as well, a few long-term rentals, a few midterm rentals as well, a couple of Airbnbs, and actually a sober living facility too. So we were potentially looking at this one and saw the square footage. Like there might be enough room to maybe add an additional bedroom or bathroom here.
No, it doesn't have a basement, so there's not enough room to do something like that.
Gotcha. Well, no worries. I mean, how's the feedback been so far? I know you haven't been listed that long.
We just listed it yesterday, yes.
Right.
Sunday.
Right. I'm sorry. Well, I mean, how I mean, we'll see how that goes then, I guess here, it may be too early for me to call. I'm also an investor. And so, a lot of times we're looking to purchase and at this point, potentially do it on seller financing because there's just a lot of people that are not qualifying for loans right now. And so, if we can do a lot more seller financing, if we can, we're going to turn around and potentially give that to someone who wasn't able to qualify for a loan right now in this market. So, I didn't know if there were any offers that came in. That's why I asked. So yeah, man. I mean, with this, I'm sorry.
No, like we don't have anything on the table. So if you're interested, you can send something. Are you an agent or?
I'm also an agent in Georgia, not Utah just yet, but I plan to get one as soon as I get my bearings here. But I felt like I'd love to connect with you at some point too. Where are you located?
I live in Harriman.
Okay, cool, man. So yeah, I just Harem is a nice place here. That's what we're looking at actually on this one. So I felt like I'm looking on my end here. It looks like the seller is kind of going through something here. Maybe they don't have a whole lot of equity. Is that right?
Right.
Gotcha. So I mean, what we would look at doing is potentially just seeing if we could maybe do a wrap on their mortgage. And cash them on their equity. That way they can at least walk away with something in pocket here. Because on my end here, it looks like they're going to have to potentially write a check to sell their house. Is that correct?
No, they have some.
Okay, some equity. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Not much, but.
Right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Sorry again? Say that again?
Yeah, so they have some, but not much.
Not much. Gotcha. Well, we actually just purchased a property. Like I said, we're moving to Utah, but in Georgia, it was funny. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Georgia, but basically, an agent had no worries. An agent had sent the property over to me. They were kind of going through, unfortunately, divorce, and so we call it the big D. I'm not sure if you're married, but it ended up being a sticky situation because we had to kind of come in and play therapist at the same time, right? But we ended up basically, doing a wrap on their mortgage, figuring out how much equity they'd had, and then, we turned around and made payments to them as well. That way, because they had a lot of equity as well.
You don't have to. They are current on the loan, so you don't have to do anything.
They're current. Okay, sweet. So that's even better. There's no arrears then. Mm-hmm. So what we would do basically is just kind of, take over their debt right now. And for us, that would help us, leverage their potential lower interest rate that they have. Because on my end here, I see that they have like a 5%er. I'm not sure if that's correct, but right now in this market, obviously, as interest rates are just super high. So if we can leverage their potential debt right now and make it so that we can maybe cash them out on their equity up front, they may walk away with more money than what they would probably do with a traditional sale.
Right. Right now I'm actually at the bank doing some paperwork. Can you send me something in writing if you're interested?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to do that. Let me see if I can find your email here. Is it Rodolfo at rangelrealestate.com?
Yes. Sir.
Awesome, sir. Awesome. So yeah, I wanted to ask you too, is this the only listing that you had on market too, or do you have any others that I can take a look at?
What was that?
I meant to ask you, is this the only listing that you have on market right now, or do you have any others that I can look at?
For seller finance, I have another one.
You do? Oh, sweet.
Uh-huh. It's an Airbnb, but...
Okay. What's going on there?
So I used to own it with someone else, but we're selling it right now. I can send you the numbers, but we need at least 156
okay.
down.
Okay.
6% rate, and it brings like $5,000 a month.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, we own a couple of, like I said, Airbnbs as well. We love it.
The only trick is that we need the 156 up front because we need to kind of divide that.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, yeah, man. Let's see what we can work on here together. What's your timeline, I guess, on that one?
We can do we can do a 10-year term on the term finance.
Okay.
6%.
Okay.
The asking price is $619.
Gotcha.
But it's fully furnished, and we have a lot of bookings already, so I can send you that over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is my personal email. And I forgot to ask you too. What's the timeline for the sellers here on this one in Harem?
Which one?
For 4214.
No, they just want to be out in 30 days. So
30 days. Okay.
They can still make the payments. They're not behind.
Right. Okay.
They just want to get out.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we could definitely make something happen. I mean, with this, what we do here, we call it informal assumption. We would basically, like I said, take over the debt, the termites, the taxes, the toilets, all the things, and then we'd be able to, basically just cash them out on their equity, and that way they can move on. Where are they moving to? Where are they trying to go?
Just close to the area.
Close to the area. Okay.
Like apartment.
Okay.
A smaller place, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we can definitely help them do that and make sure that they can, at least get their number too that they're looking for as well, and so. And then we can turn around and make this an affordable housing unit. So
yeah, as you know, every state works differently. So I need to know what exactly you want to do. Right here we call it all-inclusive seller finance. So if that's something that you're okay with, that's where will be the best route for my client to do.
Okay.
Anything else that you guys want to do that I'm not familiar with, we're not going to be willing to do. So
no, absolutely.
If you want to look up all-inclusive seller finance, we can work something out like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've got a partner down there in Utah as well, so I can definitely run this by him. I just want to feel this out as well. So, yeah, man, I appreciate the call here, and let's see if we can work on the next one too, the Airbnb that you got.
Sounds perfect, man.
All right, Rodolfo. Well, I appreciate the call, like I said, man, and have a great rest of your day.
Okay, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that guy was killing you with energy. He was just bringing the fire today. That it felt exhausting for me watching you trying to make sure that there was still energy in that phone call. Shanna, what did you think of that phone call? Let's give Ryan some feedback.
I think it was.
I got you.
Good. I think it was great. I love how he just kept it moving from one thing to the next, and I like how he was asking about other business. Yeah.
Ryan, tell me what you thought of that phone call for yourself. Did you feel comfortable on the phone call? Did you miss anything? Tell me kind of where your brain's at with regard to that phone call.
Yeah, I usually I have a talk track obviously in my mind, but sometimes I miss the key points, the pain, and I went straight into the SubTo, and I didn't really figure out what was kind of going on, and so I doubled back and asked the timeline of what was kind of with the seller and everything. So once we had realized they can move out in 30 days, I meant to tell him we can close as fast as title is clear. Usually that's pretty much how this works. So I didn't really highlight that, but I thought I also kind of spoke too fast. He was kind of dead energy to your point, and so I was kind of trying to bring it up. But I also know I can need to slow down sometimes too. And for myself, I talk too fast sometimes when I'm nervous, and that's why I'm posting these calls to get used to that and slow down a little bit, and get used to that whole point.
Yeah, that's a really good point about the speed. What I was going to say is sometimes when you have a dead fish on the other end, sometimes it's almost best to bring your energy down,
right?
To kind of match it,
right,
as opposed to compete against it. Was that his home that he was selling?
The Airbnb, yes, he's a partner with that one.
Okay, cool. What I was going to say there is that, and I just didn't hear it very well, but if he's an investor, you could have gone down the path of, hey, what do you do? Tell me a little bit more about what you're up to. I'd love to learn more about that. Maybe we can collaborate on something and even partner on it.
Right.
Something along those lines. He did mention all-inclusive seller finance. I think he probably meant all-inclusive trust deed.
Yeah.
Which is just basically a wraparound mortgage.
Right.
Seller finance, wraparound mortgage, it's kind of, it's all the same thing.
Right.
And I also think that you got away a little bit with the fact that he did understand what that meant, like a wraparound mortgage, seller finance, all-inclusive seller finance.
Right.
Whereas a lot of people, what I like to do is I think it's really important to ask them what their experience is with something creative with their sales. Like, have they done a transaction like this before? Right. I find to be really helpful because then I can speak at their speed. Right. Then I can really break it down in its most simplistic terms. So if I asked you, Ryan, to explain SubTo in its most simplistic terms, how would you do that?
Right. I guess I would say, we're coming in and taking over the debt, under the underlying mortgage that's there, and we would then work with your equity afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way to do it. And I think that what I have to keep reminding myself of is that the three of us here are much more experienced in creative finance than 95% of the agents that we talk to. Right. So when we use the terms like SubTo or wraparound mortgage, sometimes an agent's not going to really understand what it is that we're talking about. Right. So if I were to explain SubTo in its most simplistic terms in a way that an agent is going to understand more likely than not, is what I do is I come in and I pay you your commissions. I pay all of the closing costs.
Right.
What we do at that point is we simply take over the payments that are already in place instead of us going to get new financing. And then you can kind of go into why that's advantageous for the seller. I would focus on that, not necessarily for you. You could say rates right now are like 6.75%. This one's at 5%.
Right.
If we can find a way to make that work for both parties, then it's advantageous for everyone and get the sellers out in 30 days.
Right.
Right. And then if I really want to simplify it even more, if they're like, wait, hold on, you can take over a mortgage, what I would say is, have you ever done a seller finance, or have you ever heard of seller finance? Because that's something really simple, right? They've heard of seller finance.
Right.
And what I would say is it's just basically the same exact thing, except we keep the mortgage in place. That's the only difference.
Right.
The sellers still get their equity. You still get your commission. The only difference is the mortgage just doesn't get paid off. And then you let them sit with it for a little bit. It is going to take time for them to be like, hold on a second. I mean, how many agents have we talked to, the three of us, where they're like, wait, no, the bank won't allow that.
Yep.
Or
wait, like an assumption?
Yeah, like an assumption. So you're gonna assume it, right?
Right.
Yeah, informally.
Correct.
They're like, wait, hold on. What's an informal assumption?
Right.
I like that. That's a new term I haven't heard before. Informal assumption.
And that's another great simplistic way of explaining it too. It's exactly like an assumption, except we do it informally.
Right. Takes less time. There's no appraisals. And what I usually say is like, as a buyer, as an investor, we buy with our LLC, and we can't do that in an actual assumable. So, we actually have to, put in your own name, right? And so that's
That
like,
I did not know. You can't assume a mortgage. I mean, even if you weren't buying with an LLC, assuming a mortgage it takes forever, and it's so complicated, and it's
right.
horrible.
There's an appraisal involved, and it takes 120 days, and then the bank may come around and just say, you know what, nah.
Right.
Yeah, so imagine it from an agent's perspective, right? Imagine going, okay, this buyer is going to take over the payments. They're going to formally assume it. Let's say it's a Wells Fargo loan, and they're going to go through the whole process. That person who is assuming that has to qualify for it, right? So they have to send in W-2s, tax returns, pay stubs.
Right.
They have to do all of these sorts of things, and that takes a long time for these massive banks to get through. And so if it takes them 120 days, for example, to get through it, and you've been under contract on this home for 120 days, and the bank just at that point goes, you're missing this, or, we want to see this on your tax returns and you can't show it to me, so I'm sorry, we're going to decline you.
Waste of time.
That's the biggest part of a traditional real estate transaction is the financing, getting the financing in place. That's what really takes 30 to 45 days. And then another really good tip is if you kind of interject somewhere in the conversation, talk about the title company. Most people realize or recognize the fact that if you didn't use a title, using a title company means that it's perfectly legal, because a title is not going to close on a deal that's not legal. So if they have these questions about whether or not this whole process is legal, well, of course it is.
I would be a little careful with that, only because I would want to make sure that their legal counsel has reviewed the type of transaction that we're doing, just so you have a legal opinion on it, as opposed to there are title companies that will do things that are gray. Think of title companies as kind of like a CPA, if you will. Like, I want my CPA to live in the gray, dark gray sometimes, right? Sometimes title companies will do the same. So what I always want to do is work with a title company that has an attorney on staff and who is actually reviewing all of these sorts of things to make sure that we are doing it correctly and legally and all those sorts of things.
But all title companies don't necessarily have attorneys unless they're an attorney state, correct? Would that be fair to say?
Most of them do have attorneys that are on retainer that can be a resource for them. So if you call just kind of like a random title company and you said, I want your attorney to review this contract, most likely they would provide you with that service, at the very least. And that just shows me that they have someone on staff or on retainer who is willing to take a look at the documents, the transactions that you're doing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We're at the top of the hour here. I got to hop into something else here, but Shanna, thank you so much for joining us. Next time we're going to get you on a phone call. I do want you to come back, whether you're in Louisiana or whether you are in Florida.
I had a realtor reach back out to me through text and said he would call me after 1.
Okay, you want to try them now while we're here?
Well, he's going to reach out to me. He was tied up at the moment,
Okay.
and he said he would reach back out sometime after 1.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Ryan, I was just kind of wrapping things up. I appreciate you guys attending more than you know. Thank you guys so much for coming. I always love to hear how everyone else is doing business in general, but also how you guys are making the same kind of phone calls that I'm making. I know that I've improved as a result of it, so thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I went out
Yeah.
for a second. I hope I didn't miss anything. I think I did.
No, we were just talking about how sometimes title companies
Right.
can would do things that may not necessarily be 100% legal. And I'm just saying, be careful with that. Just make sure it's backed up by a legal opinion.
Right.
That's all. I just want to make sure that I'm doing that. I don't end up in a yellow suit or whatever prisoners wear these days. I don't know. I don't think I would do very well in prison. I think that I'd be a target. So
So when they get back to us, you want us to send an LOI, or what do you want us to do with some of these?
this is your list. Do whatever you want with it. You guys can work together. You can work with me. We can do whatever it is that you guys want to do. There's no expectation from my side whatsoever. So if you guys want to work with us, great. If not, no big deal. This is your lead list that you can work as much as you want.
Aw.
So, Mike, for the one that I called with Rodolfo in Utah, he said, "Hey, send me something over." I have his email, so I guess I will just, send him something over the way I usually do it, right?
However you want to do it. Yeah.
Okay. And then we can just
Paste that.
work together on that one. Okay.
Yep. And make sure you really dull down your messaging in the Gmail or the email that you send to him, because he's not going to get excited in any way.
Right.
He's like, what is my father-in-law calls my sister-in-law white bread or something like that. 'Cause she's so who knows what he calls me behind closed doors.
All right. That's so funny.
Guys, do me a favor. When we close up shop here, when we stop, just kind of leave this tab open. It's going to take a minute or so for this to process on my end. And feel free to come back anytime you want. I really appreciate you guys attending.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having this.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys later, okay?
All right.
Bye.
Bye.